Hello guys, hey, welcome to lesson 10-7, where we will be focusing in on fractions, but looking at the question, are there fraction names for whole numbers? When you have the whole thing, or more than one whole thing, are there names for that? Because we've been focusing in on fractions of a part of a whole, less than one whole, and those are fractions. But what about when you have the whole thing? What do we call that? So if you watched a Happy Adder video, this will look familiar to you, but we're also going to move on to this additional example for more than one. But in the Happy Adder video, what was looked at was this box of crackers, and Lucy had a small box of crackers, and it says that she ate 1/4 of the box in the morning and 1/4 in the box after lunch. Then she ate another quarter of the box before dinner and the final quarter of the box before bedtime. Holy mackerel, Lucy is full of crackers. Woo! The question is, how much of the box of crackers did she eat in all? Okay, so as an example, you can do your fraction strip, and then it says that she was eating 1/4 at a time. So remember that denominator says 4. So we want to divide this up into 4 equal pieces. She ate 1/4 in the morning, 1/4 in the afternoon, 1/4 later, and another quarter before bedtime. Holy macaroni. She ate 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She ate 4/4 of the box. She ate the whole box. So we could say 1 whole box is equal to 4/4. When you see the numerator match the denominator, that means you've got the whole thing. Because remember, the denominator tells you how many equal parts there are in one whole. There's 4. And if the numerator just is what you're describing, and it says 4 parts, then you have all 4 out of the 4 parts of the whole. So therefore you have the whole thing. Another way to look at it is with your number line. So you can draw the number line, and you can start with 0, and all the way to the right is 1. Okay, and so the distance, when we go from 0, we go the distance from left to right. As we move this way, we get to the full whole box. Well, we're going to divide this up into fourths. So I'm going to divide this number line up into 4 equal parts. And as we travel, in the morning, she ate 1/4. And then she ate, after lunch, she ate another 1/4. So chump, 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 chump. She got to here. Now she's eaten a total of 2/4 so far, right? And then before dinner, she munched on another quarter. So she went munch, 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 munch. She got to here, and she did 3/4. And then before bedtime, another quarter. Munch, 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 munch. And she got all the way to here. She got to the end of the box. There's nothing left. And that last 4th, right here, the 4th, we could say it's 4/4. All right? So that's one way of showing one whole as a fraction would be 4/4. Or maybe you could break it up into eighths, and then she would eat 8/8, or 6/6, depending on how you've broken it up. She ate the whole box. Now, let's take a look at what happens when you have more than one whole. What does that look like? And I want you to really focus on this part, because this is extremely important for you to start to grasp and understand. Because sometimes one box of crackers is just not enough, right, guys? No, just kidding. Sometimes one candy bar is just not enough. There we go. I'm gonna go for your chocolate, your sweet tooth. Sometimes Halloween, come on, man. I need to have more than one candy bar. I'm gonna have 2 candy bars. Well, what does that look like as a fraction? To demonstrate when you have more than one whole and how we want to represent that as fractions, I think what would be really cool would be is to use our online fraction strip website, because that's really easy to be able to drag these fractions up there and see kind of what it looks like, because we're looking at this here. So before we look at the online thing, let's take a look at this. Let's say each thing is divided up into fourths. Okay, so, but there's two holes. Now remember, that's not the kind you dig. You don't dig a hole. This is the WHOLE. Two whole things, two whole candy bars, two whole pizzas, okay? And if these candy bars or pizzas were divided up into fourths, how many fourths would there be in two whole candy bars or two whole pizzas? So let's take a look at that. I'm going to open up our, there it is. Is this it? Please be right. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'm going to bring one, let's talk candy bars, okay? Because that's right, they're rectangle, right? There's one candy bar and there are two candy bars, okay? We have two holes. And let's say they're divided up into fourths. So let's say like a Hershey candy bar, and it's been chopped up into 4 equal pieces, 4 equal pieces. So we'd have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, right? And then of course we've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Now, what's this fraction? How many fourths do we have here? Well, we know we have 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep counting. 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't you have 8 pieces here? 4 and 4. So if we're describing 8 pieces, our numerator will be 8. So we'd have 8 fourths. Now that should look strange to you, because we are not used to seeing the numerator being larger than the denominator. But when you are describing more than one whole, you are going to have a bigger numerator, because you're going to have more pieces than it takes to have one whole. If you just had 4 fourths, 4/4, we just talked about it, represents one candy bar. But you have 2 candy bars, so you have 4 pieces plus 4 more pieces. So instead of having 4, you have 8. Okay? So 2 wholes equal 8 fourths. Okay? If you see a fraction and that numerator is larger than the denominator, you should have a little alarm bell go off in your head saying, wait a minute, we're talking about more than one whole. Okay? Because if something's divided up into fourths, the most pieces you can have within one whole would be 4. But if someone says, hey, I've got 8 pieces and they've been divided up into fourths, that means you have more than one whole, more than one candy bar. And in this case, you have 2 candy bars. Now, how does this show on a number line? Like this. We start with 0. Okay, now, I can't put 1 here at the end because we have 2. So I'm going to go from here, maybe I'm going to go to here and say this represents one whole. So this whole thing here is 1. And then I'll go to the end and say 2. Okay, so here we have 2 whole candy bars. From 0 to 1, we're going to divide this up into fourths, 4 equal pieces. Okay. And then from 1 to 2, we're going to divide that up into 4 equal pieces, just like this. And there you go. Now let's label it. We have 0. And then we have 1/4. We've gone 1/4. Now we go 1 more fourth, and now we have 2/4. We go 1 more fourth, and we have 3/4. We go 1 more fourth, and we have 4/4. Now this is where it gets kind of weird, because now let's go another fourth. Now we have 5/4. 5 pieces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we go another 1/4, and now we have 6/4. Go 1 more fourth, and we have 7/4. And then we go 1 more fourth, and now we have 8 pieces. We have 8/4. Okay? So that's another way of showing when you have more than one whole, what does it look like as a fraction? Now, another way to show this is, what if this wasn't divided at all? I'm going to get a fresh piece, and we're going to get rid of these fourths. And we have one candy bar, and then we have another candy bar, and they weren't divided up at all. How many candy bars do you have, guys? Say it loud. Don't say, oh, yep. Exactly. You have 2 candy bars. How can you show this as a fraction? They're not divided up into individual little pieces, right? But we can still show this as a fraction. First off, we want to say, let's look at one whole. How many pieces represent one whole? Some of you may be scratching your head saying, well, I don't know. Well, if it's not cut up, you have one piece. One big piece. One. It's not divided into 2 equal pieces, or 3 equal pieces, or 4 equal pieces. You've got the whole candy bar right there. This whole candy bar represents one giant piece, right? Now, if this represents one piece, and this represents one piece, how many pieces do you have? What numerator should it be? 1, 2. Look at that. Now, there's really no way to say this. You don't say, I have 2 1ths or 2 1s. But this tells you that you have 2 wholes. Okay, so another thing to look for in fractions, if the denominator is 1, okay, that means, remember, the denominator tells you how many pieces there are in one whole. So therefore, if it's a 1, that means you only have one piece for the whole thing. It's like a pizza that's not been cut up yet. Here's a pizza, right? Usually it's sliced up, but what if they forget to slice it? Well, you've got one giant slice right there. But that one giant slice represents one whole pizza. So here we are with 2 pizzas. Neither one of them has been sliced. So therefore you have 1 here and you have 1 here. So you would have 1 in the denominator because it's only one piece per whole. But you have 2 pieces, right? This piece and this piece. There's your 2. So this tells you, if you see a 1 there, that means, all right, all I have to do is look up here at the top and see how many holes I have. If I had 22 over 1, that means I have 22 pizzas or 22 candy bars, because each candy bar stands for one piece. And if I see 22 up here, I have 22. It just depends. So that's another way, okay? So now let's move on to our guided practice, and let's work that together, okay? So we'll move on to the next video.